But, yeah, it does sparkle like that in the sun. It's an odd thing that happens with ginger beards. Can I get a redux of Ghibli singing Under the Bridge? Sometimes I feel like I want a coma. Sometimes I feel like my only friend is the poo on the toilet. The poo I just pooed out. Smelly as I am, together we wash. Mm-hmm. And I don't ever want to feel nice and soapy clean. Sorry, I'll stop. Thank you for the 2. Notorious P-Pop. Yeah, that's the guy. Can I get an Indian Eminem Stan impression? Stain. Did you see DC's Cope take saying the 12-6 is bad? Chat, can I be honest with you? I sense from a lot of former UFC champions and legends of the UFC that they really don't like Pereira's success because it will overshadow theirs. To them, not even act like they wanted him to compete at a heavyweight for the undisputed and get the 3 belts. I really do get this vibe of some of these former fighters not wanting the current era champs to be considered better than them and to overtake the GOATs of their era or them in their era. The only one who doesn't really care about that is GSP because he literally has said, you know, Usman's the greatest. You know, GSP will literally be so annoying to overpraise the people. But sometimes I get that vibe from DJ not wanting Pantoja to move up yet. Let's gamble it, you know? If he beats Van and Marab beats his next opponent, let's run it, dude. We got to run these fights, you know? So we'll see. They all love Poatan. They do, but DC especially when he talks about him don't move him up. He shouldn't move up. You know what I mean? He shouldn't move up and fight a heavyweight. That's crazy. They all like brush off that idea because they know that if he gets 3 belts, it's over for their legacy. It would just be so above him. Usman was on a roll. He was on a roll, but he fought Covington twice, Masvidal twice, and Gilbert Burns. So, yeah. Thank you for the 5. Just hit a maintenance wipe. Hope everything is well with the compound. Thank you for the $5. Everything's all right but the internet. So that's happening soon. But this is good, right? This isn't lagging at all. If this isn't lagging, then we're good. You know, this is good. Just hit a maintenance wipe. Already read it. Islam versus Ilya super fight or JDM beats Islam? JDM beats Islam. I need JDM to win, dude. It's big for me. This means something to me, y'all. I see Marab being an effective old fighter, like just see him defending the belt at 40. I don't want it to happen. Like, when's he going to tear an ACL? You know what I mean? Like, something. Do that, like, cardio just don't go away. I know, like, a bit of a glow. Dude, you're not a teenager anymore, you know? So, everyone has to come to that age where they grow up and stop smoking weed. It's fun on occasion, maybe, though. Maybe I'll get to the point where I can do it on occasion, but... yeah, not something you can do every day. It'll just hold back all your productivity. Thank you for the 5. Your opinion on Alex versus Allberg. Does Allberg's style pose a problem with his counters, or does Alex eviscerate? I think he'd chew up his leg. Pereira's low kick game is very, very good, so I think he'd chew up his leg and then finish him. Thank you for the 5. I don't know. I just feel like Pereira walking you down is just a different type of intimidation factor than any other fighter walking you down at light heavyweight, so... you know, he can close the distance a lot more dangerously than Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz, in some ways, chat, yes or no, is a counter-striker. You know? He goes off of what his opponent does. So for him to be able to take the front foot against Allberg and still get him and do close to beating him, that's very impressive to me. Jan picks at you and then finds his combos as the fight goes on. Whereas against, what's his name? He just charged. Not charged, but walked forward non-stop. Ish. Reminded me I had a dream of Smith getting beat up. That probably wasn't a dream. You might have been wow. Weed definitely makes me lazy. Haven't beat my girlfriend since I started. At table tennis? Thank you for the 5. Hang on a minute there. Thank you for the 10 months. Just another reminder, chat, by the way, because of that girlfriend joke, that Dana White cut Matt Riddle from the UFC for making a beat up on a girlfriend joke. Matt Riddle. Yeah, sorry, not Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle got cut from the UFC, and Dana said he'd never fight for the promotion ever again because he made a joke about when I like smoking weed because it makes me not beat up my girlfriend or something. And he got cut forever. And then Jon Jones, completely different situation. So, very interesting difference there. Very interesting difference. And then, of course, the glazer of Jon Jones, Mr. Dana White, slapped his own wife. Interesting how quickly. There must have been another reason that they didn't like Matt Riddle, and they just used that as the moral excuse to get rid of him. Hang on a minute. Because Dana still goes on about you can say whatever you want in the UFC. Bryce Mitchell's in the UFC. But Matt Riddle can't make that joke. That's insane. Hang on a minute. Thank you for the 10 months, Logan Drill. What are some of the first fights you remember watching and thoughts on them now? All up in arms. You literally got out-colonized. You know what I'm saying? You literally got mogged. Just logged on to say that's enough talking, Bellend. Thank you for the 2. Literally Canadian. I'm late. What's the Raja situation? 7 years, 4 years to 7 years. Probably going to be 4. I think it should be more. They're not charging him with attempted murder. They're charging him with aggravated assault and battery and grievous bodily harm. But yeah, the system nowadays is supposed to like punish people for lesser things more and punish people for severe things less to balance out society. Otherwise, how can they live here amongst us? They'd all be in jail otherwise, you know what I'm saying? So we have to lower the standards of society to welcome certain people in. If Paddy fights Max, is the BMF on the line? Sure. Thank you for the 2. Yeah, it should be. It'll probably be. I'm sure Holloway will do it. Depends if it's going to headline a card or not. I reckon that could headline a card with a strong enough undercard. That could headline a card. They could do that. Holloway is that level of star. He's like he's his own entity at this point. And so is Pimlet. But I'd imagine it'd be a co-main event of something with a championship fight atop the card. That'd be better. Did you see Mo Usman popped? CEO of EPO's brother, dude. Family of corrupt pharmacists. Wow. Weed definitely makes me lazy. Haven't beat my girlfriend since I started to know. Fair criticism of his style. Already read it, thank you. The hacker in Parliament was Pete Cringe farming. I mean, it's cool culture, though. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? The hacker's a pretty cool thing. Oh my God, I got media credentials for UFC 322. What a troll question should I ask Islam? What troll question should you ask him? Do you know about the MMA guru? Just see what happens there. You know what I mean? Hey, JDM. Talk to JDM and say, do you think that Makashev's wife's, that's not really his cousin or something? Dude, try and mix it. You'll figure something out. Is Randy Couture a top 15 fighter? If not, which of the UFC unks should be there? Not Uriah Faber, no. Randy Couture's champion at light heavyweight, 2-time champion at heavyweight. That's big. That is big. Top 15's tough, though. Top 15 is tough. It's such weak competition, man. It's such awful shit competition, as much as people don't like to admit that. It really is. Even there's this clip of going around of Joe Rogan saying Bas Rutten was the first elite striker in the UFC. And it was paired with like highlights of his striking. And I was thinking, this is like Ibo Aslan level shit. He looks like he's teeing off against Rafael Caquera. You know what I mean? So it is kind of wild. The difference in skill from back then and now is very different. But I think people that are staples in the GOAT list from the old times are GSP, Demetrius Johnson. You know what I mean? These types of names. And you really don't have to do much to get a clean non-PED using GOAT list. You just have to remove Anderson Silva and Jon Jones. Impression of CTE Vault confused at Guru's new setup. Hang on a minute. He ain't got the sign up in the background. What's going on here? I don't get it. Thank you for the 2. Missed your Raja take. Soz, quick summary, please. Throw him long. Gaethje really cuffs it up into the underside of the chin. Impression of Jiri begging Vettori for jump training because he mistakes him for Super Mario, bro. What, you need to teach me the lesson? You have to jump it to get the mushroom. Then you can be strong. You think Hamzat is serious about fighting Alex at heavyweight or just clout chasing? No, he just says shit and never does it, man. We'll see you in July or August against Imavov. Hamzat, bro. Shut up. You fight like once a year. Fuck off. Impression of Mallet standing on guard for thee during the Khabib fan invasion. I'm standing on guard for thee. Everybody's the same. We're all one people, even though it's just us that think that and nobody else does. Let's keep saying it. I stand on guard for thee. Who wins, Rico Verhoeven or Poetam? You know what's crazy, yeah? Obviously in MMA, I'd go with Poetan, yeah. But in kickboxing chat, doesn't it just reek of a Rico gets knocked down and then batters Pereira in like round 7 or something? I'd love to see that, by the way. If Pereira ends his career and they want to do that at Glory for some massive paycheck, I'd love to see that. Rico doesn't beat him in MMA. Shut the fuck up. In MMA gloves, I think he puts his jaw off. But I can so see Pereira like dropping him in like 2 or 3 and then Rico popping back up and still finding his way back into the fight. Rico's just a classic at like taking a punch and bringing it back and destroying someone's inside leg, you know? So, yeah. What do you mean MMA's not shooting? Yeah, the gloves aren't different at all, are they, you retard? No. Rico does very well with the big gloves to hide behind the guard, you know. Impression of Paddy making fun of Ilya's wife leaving. Hey, lad, hey. You can't, what do you mean? You're going to finish me, lad? You probably haven't. This means something to me, y'all. Why I see Marab being an effective old fighter, like just see him defending the belt at 40. I don't want it to happen. Like, when's he going to tear an ACL? You know what I mean? Like, something. Do that, like, cardio just don't go away. I know, like, a bit of a Glover resurgence, but, like, if he already was on top in the first place. Just, why is everyone else breaking their hands and tearing ACLs and not Marab, you know? Like, is he just not getting injured ever in training camp? When's he going to show up with a broken rib? You know what I'm saying? It's pathetic. It's fine. That's good. Well, the fact is, I set up, I moved out, so we'll sort it out as we go. Why I see Marab being an effective, I've already read it. Thank you for the €2, Robert P. If they actually fight, I think Pereira beats Jones. I think he sleeps him in a round. Chews up his brittle, frail little legs and sleeps him. Remember in 2019 when you made a prospect spotlight on Montel Jackson? Yeah, I know. I never mentioned it, even though I only mentioned it twice. But yeah. Be still patchy mix. What would your walkout song be? The Doom theme. The theme for Doom would be what it is. Who has the best immigrants? America, Canada, or the UK? America, dude. You guys get Mexicans, man. You don't understand how lucky you are. You literally get Latinas. Thank you for the $5, Diego Lopez. Will those guys who got into a war on the Contender series do well in the UFC? Or is the fact that they're getting in wars a bad sign for their career? Thank you for the $5. Yeah, I don't know if they'll do well in the UFC. The fact that they're getting in wars again. And to be honest with you, chat, yes or no, those 2 bantamweights looked pretty shit. They were good, but for bantamweights, they weren't all that technical or didn't have much pop in their shots. So it was a great fight. Do I think it was the greatest fight of all time? No. But they market it as that on the UFC YouTube page. But yeah, I don't see them going too far, to be honest with you. Canadian dollars. Yeah, Gaethje Topuria. But chat, you know what? Give me a nasty highlight reel KO in the first main event on Paramount. I'm starting to come around to the whole Gaethje Topuria idea. Because Gaethje is a dog. You know what I'm saying? Even though he doesn't deserve the shot, I wish he didn't say, give me it or I retire. If Gaethje would have been saying, yeah, I don't mind, I'll take on anyone. And they just didn't end up making those matchups and ended up giving him a title shot, I'd feel different. I just don't like that he said, give it to me or I'll retire, and he actually got it. I think that's a bad standard. But, you know, we're going to get a devastating KO or a war in the first Paramount main event. It should be good. Goo, what's up, man? Charles Jourdain is better than Mike Mallet. If any Canadian has the chance at gold, it's him. Insane. Hang on a minute. Thank you for the 10 months, Logan Drill. What are some of the first fights you remember watching and thoughts on them now? Anthony Pettis versus Benson Henderson, and I was disappointed. I don't know if anyone else saw the highlight of Pettis hitting Benson with that kick and thought, oh my God, what a knockout. And then I realized it wasn't a knockout and the overall fight was very shit. So that was one of them. Weirdly, I remember early Mike Perry. Was anyone else a massive Mike Perry enjoyer? There's obviously times before this where I was watching some of the fights, like Pettis body kick. I liked a lot of Pettis fights back in the day. He was one of my favorite fighters when I first got started watching the UFC. Was Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone. So all of those types of fights. But I really enjoyed early days Mike Perry fights. Mike Perry versus Danny Roberts is a sick fight, man. Mike Perry versus Stungun, and in front of Mike Tyson, he knocks out Stungun, whatever his name is. Ponzi did ruin his hype, he did, yeah. He should never have taken that fight. But then so did Alan Jouban steal a lot of his hype. He beat him as well. Jake Ellenberger KO from Perry. He was awesome, man. He beat Luke as well. I remember ordering the UK Royal Navy to go and bomb Uruguay for... These is early days for Guru. I remember that shit from way back when Perry got robbed by Luke. It was insane. Did you see the inbreds in a street fight just kneeing the thighs, Marab style? I did see that guy kneeing the guy's thigh. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Your stock can't rise after losing to Logan Paul. So I reckon he can get past Ricardo Ramos. Look at this nerd. ITP's more consistent now and he doesn't have to worry about his strikes. Yeah, that's good for him. Bryson here, stop missing my donos, lard boy. I don't. You're just repeating a joke that was dead last stream. It's Indian Pedro Pascal, Ricardo Ramos, folks. Does Joe Pyfer religiously watch MMA YouTube? Bro is constantly referencing and complaining about super niche things Lucas and Bedtime say. Dude, he must do, right? I know Sean Brady liked a couple posts of mine before. And they were trying to get me on... some guy was trying to get me on their little call-in show. That I don't want to say little call-in show. But someone was trying to get me on their call-in show that they do. But it's just never a good time. And I don't know when they even do it. So it's hard to know. But, yeah, they must watch a lot of MMA YouTube. Imagine what Pereira would do to Derrick Lewis. Crazy. He would piece him up with kicks and make him miss and then sleep him. You know all these fighters have watched you. I think, chat, yes or no, if I was a UFC fighter and I got a highlight reel KO or a good performance, I'm watching how people reacted to it online. I don't think any fighter doesn't do that. In their own language, you know. If they're an English speaker and there's a fight companion of some guy going nuts over their performance, I'd be watching it back. I'd be seeing what people's reactions to the fights were. Like, that's the first thing I'd do. I'd take some time, I'd enjoy the win, and then the next week I'd be typing in, you know, MMA Guru versus so-and-so reaction. Yeah, I mean, I'd just look up how people reacted to it. Thank you for the $2, Bill DeMann. I appreciate you, man. Oh, little range measurement reach. Don't let him do it to you, Deniz. They're going to make memes about this, dude. Classic Twitter engagement farm there from Mario Pinto. He measured the... Two, though, the Storm Surge. Yeah, I've seen all that. Yeah. How did you know he was Somalian, though? Did you just... I don't know how you could possibly have deciphered that. Best way to ask the restaurant server for a number? Probably don't do that. I don't know. I feel like that's a wrong thing to do. To be honest with you. Just let them take the lead on that. I don't know. I don't like it when someone is nice to me as like a part of like a restaurant thing. And then if you ask them out, it sort of like discourages them from ever being nice to anyone else. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's pretty bad. I've made that mistake. But not for like a restaurant server or a waitress. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if they're nice to you and then you just ask them out, it might discourage them from being nice to anyone moving forward. So I don't know if you should do that. Thank you for the 2. Birthday party at the Guru compound. I'll bring tamales. Okay. No. Yeah, Guru might actually be 5'11". You're sure Guru might actually be 5'11"? I'm not 5'11". I'm 6'3". You're sure he might be overweight? I am overweight, to be fair. Most people are built like twigs. You're sure his prediction percentage might have fallen off? It's literally like 1% lower than it was when I had the record for the year. You're sure his hairline might be rapidly receding? It's not. I have a full head of hair. But you know what? His new setup isn't great either. I mean, the last one's a true statement, to be fair. But, you know, I'm moving, so this is going to be it for now. How would those people even reach where you're at? What's your Raja take? Soz, quick summary, please. I didn't really give one. I know he's facing maybe 7 years, but it's probably going to be 4. So he's getting some time in jail. But they're not charging him with attempted murder. So it goes to show you, chat, you can't be charged with attempted murder anymore. Right? They had to resuscitate the guy back to life. He was in a coma with a brain bleed. If that is an attempted murder, there is no attempted murder. So, in California, I guess, right? But that is wild that they didn't even try him on that. Because that is so blatantly attempted murder, in my opinion. But, yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Over who gets to drive the moped. Come on, I gotta do it. It's mine. But I need to control who I need to kill. Also, new background really brings out your curves. Thanks for the laughs. Thanks, man. Ankalaev should just try and put... Thank you for the 33 months. 51 months from Master Baggins. Thank you for the 51 months, dude. That's a lot of money. Ankalaev would just try and put Jiri against a cage until he eventually gets slept. I think Jiri would beat Ankalaev, man. I do. I didn't like that Ankalaev got hurt once and curled up in a ball on the ground and quit. I know he had a bad rib, yeah, but everyone's injured going into fights. I know he had an injured rib, but chat, let's put it straight, yeah. He got hit once and he curled up in a ball on the ground. O'Malley got rocked by Yan and he fought back like a savage in hindsight, right? Really put that into perspective, chat. O'Malley got hit by Yan clean across the jaw, span his head round, wobbled him bad, hurt him bad. And he fought on and still duked it out with Yan. Ankalaev got clipped once, wobbled a bit at the legs and just laid on the ground and quit to a TKO to ground and pound. Didn't try and get up, didn't try and move, shot in, accepted bottom position and quit. Just consider what people say about O'Malley, what the Dagestani fans say about O'Malley being a bitch and a pussy. Crazy, innit? I know Alex and Yan are different, but what happens when you get hurt by a punch is not different. Wobbled is wobbled. Simple as that. And there's perspective to it, you know? Crazy. By Pettis, I was more than satisfied. Yeah, you don't even need... You can hold your chi for an extra day. That'll hold you until then. Send Ank to the tire shop 2 to 3 years and forget. Put him alcoholic until 21 and pick it up as a hobby and forget. Even though Ankalaev started at 2 years old. That's actually crazy. Ankalaev started at 2 years old. He couldn't take him down. Once. Hasn't been able to take him down once out of 12 attempts. Pereira literally picked up grappling how long ago? Think about that, chat. Let's really talk about who's built for this. Who's born ready. Who's born for this game. Ankalaev, 0 for 13 on takedowns. Started grappling at 2 or 3 years of age. Alex Pereira probably did about, 7 years? 5 years ago he started grappling properly? Couldn't take him down once? Who's really built for this game, dude? I mean, come on here. What are we talking about here, buddy? Who's got the toughest name in MMA right now? JDM. Nobody even needs to say. But it's JDM because if you think his name's Jack Della Maddalena, you're wrong. That is a bad one. But JDM has the greatest name in MMA because his name is Don Giacomo Della Maddalena. You need to understand his name is Don Giacomo Della Maddalena. Okay? The Don himself. That's a sick... I don't know why he calls himself Jack. Don Giacomo Della Maddalena. Come on, man. The Don. Say so.